So I think those two things, women witnesses and the location of Jerusalem, this Jerusalem factor for the proclamation, are two, and we've got a number of others.
Give us a little bit on the evidence for the empty tomb as you present it.
Well, the big one that critical scholars mention more than any other one is the women going to the tomb. And the fact that these are four biographies around the Mediterranean. They're not looking over each other's shoulder. They can read sources, but they're all telling the story their own way. And to me, what's incredible is they could have, with the passion for mentioning males instead of females to get your case in court. I mean, it's wrong to say women couldn't testify in a court of law. It's plain they could, but the more important the issue is and whether there are men around really was important. Carolyn Osiek's article on women at the tomb, she says that was the attitude toward women around the entire Mediterranean, Greek, Roman, Jewish, Egyptian. That's just how they viewed it. And those men who wrote the Gospels could have said, Luke and John mention it, they could have said, well, on Easter Sunday, a couple of our guys went to the tomb and checked this out, and it could have been a totally different story. It could have been the men going late and seen it. But all four of them say, hey, men or no men, it starts with the women. And, of course, the women are for all intent and purposes, just about the only one at the cross. They're just about the only one at the burial, except for two fairly obscure, Joseph and Nicodemus. But the women are there. The women are the only ones going to the tomb. We're told in John the disciples were hiding for fear of the Jews. The women are the first ones to see Jesus. So at every spot, the women are the key. And then the second point I'd make, the two greatest to me, is that the resurrection was first proclaimed in Jerusalem, not Rome, not Antioch, not Alexandria. It was proclaimed in Jerusalem. And what's so bad about that, if you're a critic, is a Sabbath day's journey could have seen if that tomb was empty. And sometimes critics will say things like, well, hey, come on, even according to your book of Acts, 50 days later, what's that body going to look like in the tomb when the first sermon's done on Pentecost? And that's the wrong look, because the question isn't, was there a body in the tomb that we couldn't recognize? The question was there a body in the tomb? And that the teaching of the Gospels is there was no body in the tomb. If you go, hey guys, I've got a body here, I can't make out who it is. Now you got questions about where the nails were placed, and you could tell what happened to the body. But if there was any body in the tomb, the proclamation is wrong. And Jerusalem is the place where the proclamation was made. So you don't make a proclamation that is readily falsifiable unless it's true. So I think those two things, women witnesses and the location of Jerusalem, this Jerusalem factor for the proclamation, are two, and we've got a number of others. Whether Paul implied it in the pre-Pauline Creed, 1 Corinthians 15, Acts 13, Acts sermon summary about the burial. We've got other data, but I think those are the two biggest evidences.